Welcome in everybody to the Dependent Fanatic channel. I'm starting my series on team schedules, and it is important. Some teams have easier schedules than others, and it does add up to extra wins for potential programs. I'm starting with the toughest schedule in the Big 10, and that has to be USC. I know a lot of people think Michigan has the toughest schedule because of all the 10-win opponents that they have to play, and Fresno State, a 9-win opponent from last season. But it is USC, I'm here to tell you. Michigan's not even top five. But we'll go down the list, 1 through 18. And this has taken a while to put together. Just nights that I have off, time that I have, free time, it's researching what all these teams do. So the Big 10 has 18 teams now, and that's quite a lot to go through, and there's no division, so you can't really break it up. You got to do all of them at once and rank it, and here we go. The hardest schedule going into the Big 10 in 2024 is USC, based off of last year's results. And USC has the toughest schedule maybe in the nation. I have dissected conference schedules for the past few years, and I've never seen a program hit 100. Not only that, their opponents have 106 wins from last season, 53 losses. That's a 67% win percentage that they're going up against here. So, not only that, but you get a bunch of Big Ten natives ready to exact revenge on USC because some of whom, like Michigan, here gets to exact some revenge at home for the first time ever. It'll be USC's first trip to the Big Ten home stadiums, basically. Michigan and Minnesota both get them at home, I think, this first time for both of them. And others play them for the first time, period. USC has never played Maryland and Rutgers. So here we go. This schedule is brutal. Not only does USC have 5 road games within the conference, they played both national championship participants from last season on the road. Washington and UCLA are the 2 traditional opponents that they have in conference still, and they do play Notre Dame still at the end of the season, who was 10-3 last season. Wow. Not to mention LSU is their first game on the schedule, neutral site. It's a Sunday, September 1st. LSU went 10-3 last season. This series is tied between LSU and USC, 1-1. So they haven't played very much. And then Utah State gets USC. 6-7 team last season. USC leads that series 6-0 over Utah State, and then an earlier bye week. But it's a great place for USC because right after their bye week on September 21st, they go to Michigan, a 15-0 team from last season, the reigning national champs. And USC leads this series all time 6-4. But never in the big house. It was never in the big house. So then they have to follow up the next week with Wisconsin at home. But a 7-6 Wisconsin team that's on the rise. USC leads this series 6-1. USC leads against everybody except for Notre Dame here at the end. But a lot of teams are really close right here, like Michigan, 6-4 all time. We want to get that 6-5. It's at home finally. A lot of pressure. The Big Ten did not do USC any favors with this schedule. A lot of these teams just want to beat them, right? That's the name of the game, but there's extra motivation here. At Minnesota is next after Wisconsin for USC, and they were 6-7 last season. They made a bowl. USC leads that series 6-1 when they were never have played a game in Minnesota. Penn State is next, and October 12th now, and they were 10-3 last season. USC leads that series 6-4, and then October 19th, Maryland. You have to go to Maryland, who was 8-5 last season. They lost Talia, yes, but these two programs have never played, and you got to go all the way to the East Coast. And then you get Rutgers, a team right after that you have never played. This one's at home, but they were 7-6 last year. Shiano has that program getting more physical and being better. So you play two teams that you've never played before, and Washington gets to sit back and watch how that worked out, and you have to go to Washington November 2nd. They were 14-1 last season, the national runner-ups. USC leads this series by 20 games, 51-31, and 4 ties. But like I said, you got to go there, and playing teams that you've never played before, maybe you try new things, or maybe they learn. Maybe you lose to Maryland, and Washington learns from that experience. This is brutal. This is just brutal for USC, in my opinion. After Washington, you get your second bye week. Everyone gets 2 bye weeks this season. And right after that, you get Nebraska at home, a 5-7 team. USC leads that series 4-0 and 1 tie. And then right after that, at UCLA, who was 8-5 last season, and USC leads that 50-34-7 all time. And then you get Notre Dame at home, 10-3 team last year. But Notre Dame leads the all-time series versus USC 49-37-5. So there you go. Like I said, not only does USC have 5 road games within this new conference at Michigan, at Minnesota, at Maryland, at Washington, who they are familiar with, and at UCLA, who they are familiar with, but they get home games. Neutral site game versus LSU to start the season, but a home game versus Wisconsin and Penn State, who are 2 traditional upper echelon teams of the Big Ten. And then Rutgers is on the rise, and Nebraska with Matt Rule is on the rise. This is not going to be easy. 67% win percentage for their opponents from last season. So there you go. They are the number 1. Toughest schedule going into the Big Ten, and we will be doing number 2 here shortly, and then so forth and so on. Do you want me to do individual videos for the schedules, or will that be way too many videos and you guys won't watch? Do you want me to maybe do the top 10, 9, or 2 through 9, or 2 through 10 next week, or in a couple days? And then finish out the bottom 8 in that same video. How much do you want me to go in depth with all these schedules? That's all I'm asking. So this is brutal, and I don't think USC is going to have. They don't have Williams back. He held them up 8-5 last season. If not for him, they would have been much worse. We all know that. And now, welcome to the Big Ten, USC. Fire up, or fight on. I mean, that's your slogan, right? You got to fight on. You're going to have to.